All right, welcome back to Views from the Grand East. I am Right Worshipful Ruben Flatus. I am sitting here today with Right Worshipful Anthony St Luce. He is sitting Grand Chaplain this year and also known as a tree reaper, which we'll get into later. But we have a few things on the agenda to talk about. But the first thing, let's let everybody know who you are, right? So how did you become a Mason?
First of all, Ruben, it's great to be here with you today, and I'm very thankful to be here with you. What brought me to Masonry was I was going through a very difficult time in my life, kind of a little bit lost, and I needed something. I wasn't sure what I was looking for, and I actually started at a certain point collecting Bibles. And me and my family, we didn't have a lot of money at the time, so we would go around collecting Bibles. We would go to antique stores from Pennsylvania to New York. I was buying Bibles. Okay. Everyone would say, "You bought all the Bibles from here to there." Yeah. So after a while of that, I got very interested, and I was finding different things in the Bible, in these different family Bibles. Mm-hmm. And I kept asking God, what journey am I on, and what is my next step? And what came to me was Freemasonry. I have no idea why, but this
just came in your mind.
When I had started a relationship with God at that point, and I've learned to listen, and he told me to go towards Freemasonry. I had no idea how, why, but I decided if I found a way, I would go. I was working with a person, and he was reading this little book, and it happened to be NJ1. It was a cipher. I didn't know. Yeah. And I asked the brother, and I said, I didn't know at the time he was a brother, but I said to him, "Are you a Mason?" He says, "Matter of fact, I am." And I said, "Well, how would I?
To be one, ask one.
To be one, ask one." And he set the wheels in motion. Okay. So the Bible brought me to Freemasonry.
How about that? So how long now have you been a Mason?
So I've been a Mason for 20 years now.
20 years.
20 years.
And I want to address 8 of those were as Worshipful Master. How 8 years as Master?
Well,
that's a lot.
So I started my journey at Warren Lodge.
Okay.
Warren Lodge 13. I worked my way from Marshal all the way up to Senior Warden. Okay. And when I became Senior Warden, the lodge ended up getting shut down.
Oh, wow.
Okay. We were split. Yeah. We were divided, and the lodge was shut down. Okay. Our charter was removed.
It was on refreshment.
It was on refreshment. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was kind of lost. Yeah. And I always joke around with my brother, Ed Rusick, that I was a refugee. I was a brother without a home. Okay. So I ended up finding my way to Blairstown Lodge. A good brother there said, "You'd be welcome here. Come to Blairstown. And you can continue your Masonic journey." So I went to Blairstown. In a couple of years, I became Master there. Witnessed some miracles there, actually. I saw some true miracles happen in Blairstown. And I was blessed to be a part of it. I served my year there. And I was going to step out of Masonry after that. I had experienced a couple things that had... some things that broke my heart, and I was going to leave it. Okay. So I traveled. Someone asked me to travel to Phillipsburg. Okay. And I was just there we were having fellowship. I believe they were having fellowship downstairs, and Brother Ray Rush, Right Worshipful Raymond Rush, who's a past Grand Chaplain, was one of the first people I spoke to there. And we greeted each other. He hugged me, and he says, "What's your plans? Where are you going?" And I said, "I'm not really sure. I thought I was going to take a break from Freemasonry." And he said, "Why don't you come here?" I never really thought about going to another lodge. I really was done after being Master the first time. So he said, "Come to Phillipsburg." And I said to him, "Is there going to be any issues here if I come?" "Nope. We'll welcome you with open arms." And it was true. I found a home. I'm thankful to be there. I was very thankful and blessed to be there. I had never felt unwelcomed at Phillipsburg Lodge. It was barely even a year after I dual membered there, I ended up being Master. And that began that 7-year stretch.
They liked you so much that they said, "Oh, just let them keep doing it."
Well, the lodge had a few problems going on that.
What lodge doesn't, though? You know.
What lodge doesn't? That took a while to fix.
Okay.
I didn't do 7 continuous years. I did have 1 year where Brother Ed Rissick did take master.
They let you get a break.
They gave me a break. It wasn't really a break, but
Yeah, you're still involved.
I'm still involved.
Yeah, I think for a lot of us, especially as a past master, that's where the real work begins, right? You learn a lot in your year as master. You come out, but now you're here as the experienced elder, so to speak, and to help guiding. And if you're really involved in your lodge, you're going to be there regardless.
Very true. Honestly, everyone would say to me, Anthony, after all this time of you being master, how are you going to handle being a past master? And I'm pretty fresh. It just happened.
Yeah.
And I was a little worried because the issue with being master so long, it becomes you get so used to being
the guy
in charge.
Yeah.
It's hard to step back. And would I be able to step back? But, thank God for Omar. Thank God for being on Grand staff. It's given me opportunity
to put your energy somewhere
to continue my journey and meet a lot of good brothers like yourself.
Yeah.
So I'm very thankful.
I want to talk about because we mentioned earlier to everybody the Tree Reaper, right? That's the handle, and that's how I first got to know you, right? Because you were on staff together, but we never really met,
right?
But again, we're all in uniform. We're all at the same events now. We were down at AC. You got to present the gavel, and they mentioned this whole Tree Reaper thing, and I'm like, I was like, okay. And now that I know who you are, I know what you do. You had explained to us, his tree, specific, it's you have a connection to this.
Yes.
So why don't you elaborate a little bit about your experience in woodworking, and the whole Tree Reaper title?
So honestly, the whole part of me working in the woods happened when Sandy came. Mm-hmm. At that time period, my business was failing. I had a construction business. Issues happened, and I honestly, I was in a pretty bad way. I had, I had to figure out a way to support my family. So then here comes Sandy, knocked down everything, and I said, boy, I could go out and cut some wood. I had a friend, he was a logger. Mm-hmm. And I said, hey, can I come out with you and try logging? And he said, sure. So I bought my first little chainsaw, and I went out in the woods and learned a trade. And around the same time, my mother passed away from ALS. Well, she was.
Oh wow! Sorry to hear
it was horrible. It was horrible, and that's
it's a difficult disease.
It's a terrible disease, and I wish it on no one. It's true. It's a very difficult disease. So I was at that point of going in the woods. I needed to be lifted, and I remember the first job I went on with, the guy's name I was working with was Travis. And I went out into the woods, and I remember the sun was coming through the trees in a certain way. And there was a deer right over here. The deer wasn't scared of me. And it was just it brought me comfort. When you read in the Bible, because you got to remember the Bible brought me here. So I recognized a few things when I was in the woods, and I was at peace. I was okay that my mother passed. I felt her there, and I knew this was the way.
It connected there,
and it connected. It was like being in God's lodge, like His temple. It was very strange, but that's the way it happened.
That's beautiful. That sounds beautiful.
It was
to
it
experience
was.
and be in that moment and really, it's hard to put in words.
It was hard to deny.
Yeah.
So that started my. I learned step by step. I got hurt a number of times in the woods. I almost lost my life 2-3 times in the woods, and I got the scars to prove it.
Yeah.
If you see these scars on my head, they're all from
trees fighting back.
Yeah, they do fight back.
Yeah.
But I persisted, and you get wiser. If you can live off the woods, you get wise.
Sure.
And I learned how to make a really good living off it.
Yeah.
Okay, and the whole gavel thing, it's like the fruit.
Yeah.
So the gavels are fruit of my labors. And I've learned that I don't do it for money, and I like to give them.
Yeah.
But I also learned that these gavels can help the veterans. So I know we'll get into that.
Yeah, so guys, gavels in the future now, donations for the veterans, right?
Right.
Which we'll get into later, but yeah.
I had this thing, it was that kind of saved me when I was at my lowest point. I I learned this little saying. It's fully rely on God, pray until something happens. It was like frog push. Fully rely on God, pray until something happens. So with this motto, I was like, I learned how to pray.
Yeah.
And I learned how to see. If your prayers are answered. If you pray a certain prayer all the time until it's answered, you know it's answered.
Sure.
So one thing I did pray for is I always wanted to make a gavel for a Grand Master, because I've made gavels before I met you guys, I probably made 100, 200 gavel. I've made gavels for all sorts of people. I've made gavels for Eastern Star, Worthy Matron, so I've been doing it for a while, but I never...
It's not your first rodeo.
No, it's not my first rodeo. And they all kind of evolved. And if you could get them all together, it would say something. Yeah. So it would be kind of cool to see them all together, but I don't know how that would happen.
I don't want to get the people that you started with because it's not going to look as good as the other ones,
Well, it's an evolution. The first ones I used to make boxes with them. Okay. And the box was harder than the gavel.
Yeah, you were mentioning that one time we were at your shop.
That's takes a lot of time. So, but with Omar, it was like a prayer answered. Like he didn't ask me to make the gavel. I called him and asked him if I could make him a gavel, because I know Omar has everything planned, and he already had someone making him a gavel. I said,
talk about a guy being squared away.
Right, he's squared away. So I said, can I make you a gavel? He says, yeah, Anthony, but I'll have 3 or 4. I said, no problem. Yeah, no problem. So I chose the wood for his, because it was this tree had to be over 250 to 300 years old, the tree. Okay. And I know Omar is the 250th year of Freemasonry in New Jersey. So it was very close to that time when that tree started. Okay. And that tree was grown in Chester, New Jersey on Old Chester Road. Okay. And it was a Revolutionary general's property. Okay. Very old. And it had a lot of history. That tree's seen a lot. Okay. Okay. So it's actually in front of an orchard. I had the picture of it so I could show you standing, and then we dropped it, and the crotches are usually something they throw away. Okay. So the stone which the builder refused. Okay, so this would be something they would throw away, the crotch, because the mills don't buy the crotches. Okay. So I fought to take these things. They were huge. Brought it home, let it dry. Matter of fact, Jonathan's gavel is made from the same.
Yeah, you had mentioned that. Yeah.
Okay, so I had spirit in that wood because that tree has seen a lot, and it's old. Then I had I inlaid it with those lines on it with the it was a curly maple, which was given to me by a brother who took his own life. My best friend. Yeah, you had mentioned Kurt Klink. He took his own life. He was a woodworker, and so I call that brother wood. And I only have so much of it. So I use that. Specialty. Special. Yeah. So it's got spirit. And I had the opportunity. I know Omar wasn't, it wasn't something he was thinking about. Yeah. So I kind of just gave it to him down in Atlantic City. He didn't look at it at the time. We took a picture. Yeah. And then it was like the next day I saw on the app he had, wow, look at this guy.
Yeah, he put it out. Yeah, we could see it.
It really
we got to go look at it.
I couldn't have put it together. The way it happened was divine to me.
It's providence.
Yes. Yeah. So a lot of prayers and a lot of have been answered through this institution, and I'm just thankful. I'm thankful, and I'm thankful for the opportunity to be able to speak to some of the brothers on where I'm coming from. Yeah.
Well, after we met through Jonathan Young, worshipful brother Jonathan Young. He's now installed as worship master of this lodge here at Niram. But he was supposed to get a gavel done. Some things didn't work out, and that's what led me to reach out to you, right? And you were like, yeah, I'm happy to do it. We gave John the information. He reached out to you. You guys spoke. Then we were talking about doing something, but we ended up coming out to Phillipsburg, my first time at the lodge, and he shared a story about his involvement. We heard about all the stuff you just mentioned, but he shared a story about how he works with the veterans. Tell us a little bit about Brothers to Veterans, just a general overview, and then we'll get more details from the guys.
Okay, so basically when I went to Phillipsburg Lodge, they were participating in a program that went to the VA every Sunday. and they would take veterans to church service. And it interested me. And I hadn't found a church that I felt comfortable with at home. And I was interested. So I started going to the service and bringing vets to the service. And which was great. You know, I went and we'd push, some of the brothers were in wheelchairs. We'd push them to the service. Then we'd push them back. And I would notice that we didn't really get to know anybody. We didn't speak to them very much, but I was just following what the brothers had done before I came there. So winter came, and I'd noticed, you know, there's a certain area where the veterans come out and they have a cigarette, or, you know, they come out of the building to, you know, get some fresh air or whatever. And I noticed it wasn't just one veteran out there with no shoes on. It was quite a bit. And then I noticed nobody had jackets. There was a lot of people without jackets, without basic things. And I said, hey, guys, where's your shoes at? We don't have shoes. Some people come there with nothing. So I said to myself, well, I'm going to go get some shoes.
Yeah.
So it was a slow thing. I just started by myself, and I would go get a pair of shoes, or I'd get a jacket. And 5 years later, I was still doing it. And I would go back to my lodge. Since I was master for so long, I could ask my brothers for help, and they would help. And I'd ask my sisters for help, and they would help. And we kept plugging along for a while that way. But over time, the need was greater than what we were bringing in. And
your ability to give will prove.
Well, I've made it this long.
Yeah.
But I couldn't go forever. So I'd made a lot of friends there in the hospital, and we were just doing kind of the best we can. And sometimes I would get a little kickback that you're really not supposed to give the veterans these donations directly. It was supposed to go a certain route, which everyone would tell me, Anthony, the stuff doesn't actually get to the people who it needs to get to. So I just kept giving it direct.
Yourself when you could. Yeah.
So then COVID happened. And we couldn't go to the hospital for years. And I was wondering what happened to my friends and what was happening. By the time they let us back in, you know, I saw some different things on the news that the Lions Hospital lost more veterans than any other hospital in the country. They lost over 230 veterans, lost their lives to COVID. Some of them were my friends.
Yeah.
Nathaniel, there's a couple that really stood out to me. There was a brother there, John, who was one of the last World War II vets they had in that CLC. He passed away. And I remember thinking to myself, well, what happened to them? They said, well, Anthony, if they didn't have family to get them, they're in a warehouse, their remains.
Yeah.
And it just broke my heart. But
no, when you were telling me this, I was moved.
It's another, you know, there needed to be some sort of recognition for that much of a loss of life. And I'm still working with Rolling Thunder, which I'm a member of, to try to get some sort of memorial for the 200 plus veterans that were lost during COVID. So that
might be something we get done through Brothers of Veterans then.
That would be,
you know?
Yeah, because
with some help from the brethren and people watching this, yeah, we might be able to make that happen.
And I've been in contact with Senator Cory Booker.
Yeah.
I've been writing back and forth, but it's very difficult to get through the political red tape.
Oh, there's a long chain.
Yes.
All right. Well, we're going to cut here for this because I want to bring on, we got John and Thomas, right?
Yes.
Thomas, who are going to come on, and we're going to talk with them a little bit. They're veterans themselves, and, you know, they know Anthony. We'll get a little bit more details as we go on, and then we'll follow up with Worshipful Brother Jonathan Young and Worshipful Brother T.L. Hopkins, who are a part now of Brothers of Veterans with all of us. All right. We'll see you guys in a second. Okay, welcome back to Views from the Grand East. So we're continuing here to talk about Brothers to Veterans. So we have Right Worshipful Anthony St Luce back with us, and we have two vets with us. So we have Thomas Williams,
yes,
and John Kendo. That's how he told me his last name. I love it. So before we get started with anything else, Thomas, why don't you tell us about yourself? You served, and your involvement with the veterans.
Yes, my name is Thomas Williams, and I served in the United States Marine Corps for 4 years. I'm a Desert Storm and Desert Storm veteran. I also went through Lions VA for alcohol addiction, which by God's grace, I'm 1 year clean as of the 20th of this month.
Congratulations.
Grateful for that. And I came through, met Anthony and the Masons maybe February of last year. And one of the vets told me about the brothers and the Masons come to assist, taking the veterans to church services and everything. And I was skeptical. So 1 week I came down, spoke with Anthony and the brothers, and I see what they was doing and the work that they were doing and how they was going out of their way personally, out of their pockets, with assisting us with necessities which we need. And when I came through the VA, I had nothing because I was dealing with the addiction of alcohol for like 30, 40 years.
Oh,
and,
wow.
God called me to move, and I just left everything I had in South Jersey and just came to the VA. So when I got to Lions, I had nothing. And by God's grace, he put Anthony and the Masons in my path. And me personally, things just doesn't happen by chance. I know God got a will, he got a purpose, and he got a desire for us. And I got reconnected with God, because through my struggle with alcohol, I went to prison, spent a lot of times in prison, but by God's grace, he gave me the ability to earn a master's degree in biblical studies. So
Oh, wow.
my
That's great.
heart desire is to serve the Lord. And in my journey, I have been trying to do my best, but unfortunately, my best led me with addiction because alcohol became my God. And by God's grace, with the fellowship of Anthony, even John, he befriended me, and we've been friends now over a year. And I really trust him. And the byproduct of our fellowship with the Masons and John, my wife, Robin, she does it say, if I mention lying, John is in the conversation every time. How he's doing, how his son doing, how Anthony's doing. And I'm grateful for my wife because, my fiance, but because her birthday is today. And she gave me this opportunity to come out, And my heart is torn, but she know where my heart is at. And I hear it all the time. You love Lions. I love the ministry. I love what the Masons are doing because it really is a needed necessity. And I'm grateful for it, It's a lot of uphill struggles I'm at to face, Like I'm back in Irvington. I completed the program. I'm looking for work, which, I'm trusting God at this. I'm just waiting on this time, and I'm doing my best, and I'm doing what I'm called to do. And I'm leaving everything else in God's hand, hoping and praying that he open opportunity for me to get back to employment.
That's fantastic. All right, pass it on here to John. So, John, tell us about where you served, your time, and your involvement in the VA.
So my name's John Cando. I did 10 years, 4 months, 2 days in the U.S. Army. I come to meet Anthony through, I came out of prison January 30th of last year, and I was at the Dom, Building 57, the homeless shelter. And I heard there was these gentlemen bringing guys to church, and I was like, well, I'm in church. I want to know what this is about. So that's when I saw Anthony and some of the brothers, and they brought us down, and I saw the brotherhood that I have with being in Iraq, being in South Korea. I saw the same brotherhood, and I said, this is something that is warm in my heart. And then after church, Anthony came up to me and said, do I need anything? And I said, wow, I do. And he actually, he said, write your name on the list. And I wrote a couple of things. And then I wasn't the only one. He went and asked all the veterans. And then from that day on, I became the to-go guy for any of the other vets who need stuff.
Kind of worked as like the liaison, connecting everybody. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I love it because it just reminds me that there's still kindness in the world through these times right now, and the Masons bring that all the time. Every Sunday, we go from bringing guys from the third floor, the substance abuse program, to going to CLC and pushing our older veterans around, our men and women who served.
John, real quick, what's CLC?
CLC.
For those who don't know.
I forgot what
don't know.
CLC stands for, but it's where older veterans who need some type of operation go for recovery.
Okay.
Or unfortunately, some of our veterans, men and women, who are left on the side of the curb because their families don't want to deal with them anymore.
Oh, wow.
Because of their issues. So it's a nursing home for veterans.
Okay.
And we go there on Sunday, and the men and women who are able to come to church, we wheel them there. So it's just a blessing because I continue to feel that the Masons have given me a second purpose to serve, to continue to serve. And ever since meeting Anthony, I want to thank you. I do. I want to thank you because again, it just shows, it lets me know that there are still kind people in this world, and I thank you. And my life has been enriched knowing knowing Anthony and all the other brothers. And again, we as veterans, some of us, when we come into these programs in all VAs across the U.S., we come to the VA. Some of us come off the street. Like Anthony said, some of us without shoes, socks. Some of us come in with addiction. Some of us come with mental health problems. And at many times, we need donations as far as simple stuff. Anywhere from socks to shower shoes, to toiletries, to a sweater, a hoodie. I remember I received a hoodie, and within minutes, a female veteran came down with her daughter saying that she wanted a hoodie too. And it was too easy because somebody took it off their back to give it to me, and I did the same thing. And it's such a beautiful feeling. So if there could be more handouts, just know that they're not going to go to waste at all.
Thanks. And why don't you take the mic real quick? So before we sat down, we were kind of already talking a little bit. We got into some things. I was like, wait, let's save it because we want to share it with the viewers. So tell us some of the things you were saying. You were mentioning, like, I know Thomas had mentioned about, work, stuff like that. You were saying, hey, like for handouts, stuff like that. Give us a little bit more of your point of view of what you want to see with Brothers to Veterans and with our viewers, how they can help.
So honestly, as the years go by and you participate in this kind of it's a relationship. Like I call them brothers, like just the same way I call you brothers. Like these are my brothers. I mean, I've had John has come. We've worked together. I have when I can use a little bit of extra help, I'll call John and he'll come and help. I know a lot of brothers were looking to join Masonry in order to do some good. And I think here is a platform where they can do some good. There's opportunity here, even if you don't have any money to give. How about some of your time? How about just getting to know some brothers? I've realized that with the veterans, for them to have someone on the outside who cares means a lot to them. At least somebody who will listen. That means a lot. I would like to see in the future that the Brothers to Veterans, that we can get to a point where we could say, hey, this brother needs help. He needs more than just socks and shoes. Maybe he needs help with his rent. Maybe his family member, his wife, she could use some help while he's dealing with some of the issues that he's having in the hospital. Because just because they're in the hospital doesn't mean they don't have family at home waiting for them to get better. So I have a lot of hope in this. And I know that, we keep saying how God brought us here. Then God brought us here for something bigger than ourselves. So not only do we have an opportunity to help these brothers or, veterans? I keep saying brother. It's very difficult for me to decipher.
Yeah.
But I think you have an opportunity for this to be as big as we'd like it to
Sure.
be, and that maybe we can spread to other VAs. We have a hospital, right, in East Orange. Why aren't we going there? Why aren't the brothers there? Do they not need help? Having these brothers here, they can help us get it in there. Because we need either we have to go in as Masons or we have to go in as veterans in order to access the hospital. So my hope that one day we can provide other resources. Maybe we could do I don't know. I think I am just facilitating this. We're bringing it together. We're all here. We're all on the same mind. I don't know where it's going to go, and I'm very hopeful that it's going somewhere good.
I'll say this, from when I first got to meet you, the passion that you had for it, right? And you guys are here now, so John's here, Thomas is here, hearing your stories too. And again, what you were doing, I know it was real love. It was true brotherly love, right? And so that spoke to me, right? And I think that's where I want to have this opportunity to bring this, not just you as a Mason, but to see that this is what Freemasonry is doing, right? Could even say God is doing, right? Brought you guys together, and here we are. So we're going to move on to our next set of guys. We're going to talk a little bit more about what we can do and some of the organization structure that we've began with, because this is grassroots.
Yes.
All right, so just stick with us. We'll be right back. Okay, and we're back now for our final segment here on Views from the Grand East. I am sitting with two brothers, worshipful brother Jonathan Young, who is sitting master this year of Adoniram Lodge, number 80, and I have worshipful brother T.L. Hopkins, who is sitting master for historic Alpha Lodge. I got you, number 116. I don't want JD to get mad at me. We threw the historic in there. All right, so the reason these brethren are here is, well, our story that we're going to tell is kind of how we met Anthony. We touched a little bit earlier, but John, you were really the spark that had this really happen. So why don't you tell your story so that the brethren could hear how we came to meet Anthony?
Well, thank you, Right Worshipful Sir. So as you alluded earlier, I was in need of a gavel. Circumstances had changed. And with only a week prior to my installation, Etsy didn't have anything, eBay didn't have anything. But our grand architect had something that was in better plan, and he
It was
made
always
this
the plan.
Yes, exactly. That was the plan, probably. So, Right Worshipful Anthony St Luce ended up making the gavel a lot better than I ever could have dreamed for it to be. But through our conversation, what came for originally just having a conversation of a few minutes and dropping off my pen for the year ended up becoming probably about a 2-hour conversation. And by the end of that, Brothers to Veteran was born at that point. So that's how it started.
Okay. And so we got you down here as the secretary and running operations now. We were just figuring this out before we got started. So now, all right. Why don't you pass it along here? And worshipful brother Hopkins, why don't you tell us a little bit how you got dragged into this?
So it's interesting because worshipful brother Jonathan here pulled me into the idea and said, hey, there's something I think that will be of interest to you. I know how you like organization. I know how you like working with goals and making sure things kind of come to fruition. So he started talking to me about brother to veteran. By default, I too am having a gavel made, which will be presented to me at some short period in the near future. And it gave me an opportunity to go down to Right Worshipful Anthony's house, kind of understand what he was doing, and it, gave me further buy-in as to what his mission was. And as such, I took my experience in business and helped him form the entity that's needed to.
You're working in
kind of move
banking
this forward.
still or something like that? Something?
I'm in economic development now.
Okay.
A little bit still in banking.
He's
but
like, I'm
outside
fancier,
the-
bro.
No, I'm not fancy at all. But working with him to help get the guardrails, the business portion put into place. So,
And that's what's great, because this was just an idea, and now it's official. You helped incorporate to get us started there. John and bringing everything together. Probably one of the most organized people I know, Jonathan Young. And so that happened, and this is now formulated into something official. We're going to take this to the next level to help bring this man's passion. And like you're like, I don't know. It doesn't matter, because now we got these guys here. I'm going to help, and we're going to turn this into something real. and make it a real company, a program, well, not a company, a nonprofit to really help the veterans. And I think just alone with what you guys, John brought me along to do a video. We never did the video that night, and it was more important because I think the conversations we had were what helped build this. And so it's a real simple call to arms, brethren, that if you have time to donate, lodges, if you want to give something, this is going to be a worthy cause. And you're giving to brothers that are helping. We're helping bring this to veterans, but not only that, it's through Freemasonry, right? It's part of what we do. As you heard John and Thomas speak earlier, right? They were talking about the Masons coming in and helping them out, right? And so I think this is a great worthy cause. I was moved. You know, I got my crying out before I came here because that day I had to walk away. I was breaking. It was to hear some of these stories. We need your help. That's it. So not only, is this just about meeting a brother, but we're turning this into a little something else that we can bring this cause. We're going to have him speak and go around to a lot of lodges too, so that you can hear a little bit more about Brothers Veterans. But John?
Also, when you think of Masonry, you think that it embodies faith, hope, and charity. This is one of our core tenets that we could utilize during this time period. When I planned out the year, speakers, Masonic education, light, but also community involvement and things of that nature. So I implore any of the sitting masters for 2026 or the senior wardens that are planning their next year to contact Right Worshipful St. Luce. That's an educational component that is not just education and light for that lodge, but it's also getting them to understand how they can benefit the community and help those that provide the blanket of security to our nation during this time period, which is huge for us. So we know that we have our Deputy Grand Master coming on March 4th. Right Worshipful St. Luce will be part of that evening and speaking about that. At my installation, there was a component as well where he was able to address the audience and speak about this. So the more that people know, the more that we could push this. It's for a very noble cause, and we're excited to see where this goes, the length of this, and helping our veterans that are helping us.
Yeah. Cue it over here, unless you got something.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up, one of the things that I'm trying to do to help spread the word is whenever I'm going out to do any of my lectures, I'm asking Right Worshipful Anthony to come with me. Talking to the worshipful masters and saying to them, hey, I have a brother. He has something that I think is incredibly important for your lodge to understand and to try to help spread the word that way as well. I think it's a worthy cause because I'm sitting here. So, I'll do what I can to help as well.
Great. And any closing words?
My closing words would be, I kind of, after 8 years of being master, it's hard not to, you get to a point where you say, there's no more I can do. I'm going to take a step back. I don't know what I was prepared to do. But having these brothers come together to join with me in this cause, it kind of revitalizes my faith in Masonry. Because I think the more we do for the veterans, the more we're going to do for ourselves as a brotherhood.
Here.
Because this gives us the opportunity to do good. And it gives us the platform to go and do something good together. And I think it'll bind us together stronger than we are. So I'm excited to see where this goes. And I'm excited to do it with you brothers here.
Great. Well, you hold it. I got here. All right, brethren. So that's going to wrap it up here for this episode of Views from the Grand East. There's definitely more to come. But for now, we're going to be talking about Brothers from the Brothers to Veterans. So if you need any details, if you're interested, you want to be a part of it, we do have a Facebook page that was finally started. We're going to have links and details below the video there, so you can have a link to click if you want to find out how you can be a part of this, whether you want to just donate time, money. You got things that maybe you can give that can help, whatever it may be, right? We're definitely open to receiving any assistance to help the vets. So look in the details below the video. But I think that's it. Again, so Anthony, thank you for taking time out of your day to come out here. We saved some trees' lives today. And Jonathan, he was out doing his thing, and TL came through as well to support. We just want to bring this message to everybody. So everybody have a blessed one and a happy new year, and we'll see you in the next one.